today with this amazing team of coaches and teachers.
Hi, I am Amber Wise. I am the academic instructional coach at Smyrna Elementary.
Hi, I'm Ashley Pearson. I teach 3rd grade at Okolona Elementary.
Hi, my name is Kelly Conkling, and I teach 4th grade at Hartstern Elementary.
Hi, my name is Amanda Wooten, and I teach 3rd grade at Bates Elementary.
Awesome. So if you wouldn't mind hitting the next slide for me, Becca. These wonderful math leaders are going to be talking to you all about in-the-moment student-centered feedback today. NTI has offered so many challenges, and this group of teachers and coaches have broken barriers to implementing effective and efficient feedback to increase student learning. And you're going to have an opportunity to learn today about synchronous and asynchronous strategies with various platforms for not only teacher-to-student feedback, but peer-to-peer feedback as well. And I don't want to take any more time from these brilliant leaders, so if you would like to know more about feedback from the elementary math team, please visit the curriculum frameworks by clicking on the curriculum framework link. And look at the tools section, the tasks, and the games. You can also reach out to Elizabeth, Andrea, Amy, and myself. We're always here to support you and your students. So to begin talking about feedback today, we're going to switch over to Amber to start us off.
All right, so most of our feedback at Smyrna is given in synchronous instruction, from observing our students showing their work, using manipulatives, talk moves, and most importantly, justifying their answers through discourse. So one of our biggest challenges in NTI, as I'm sure it's yours, is just simply not having enough time with our students. And one thing that happened because of this was a lot of the formative assessments that we would have done in the brick and mortar classroom with our students has been pushed to that asynchronous work time. And in our primary grades, we are having lots of parent support during those asynchronous lessons. And in our intermediate grades, a lot of the work just simply isn't getting done if it's not done synchronously. So to fix this problem, or because of that, we weren't getting a valid picture really of what our students know or needed to know to push that learning forward. So we were able to fix it by our teachers actually volunteering to add an additional whole group time to their day. And through that whole group time, we're able to teach a mini lesson, and then they have their small group times where they are able to get in their math focus groups, or maybe they're doing a formative assessment there, or maybe they're playing workplace games or centers, where we're getting to see exactly what our students know and what they don't know. And this has greatly impacted our ability to give feedback that's really moving the learning forward. Another struggle that we had when NTI started was simply not being able to see our kids. So what we did was, a lot of our teachers have 2 monitors, one monitor where they are sharing their screen, and then one monitor where they are simply just monitoring the kids. So we call it our kind of proximity control monitor. We might be looking to see what are they doing with their manipulatives, because every kid at Smyrna was sent home with the manipulative kit. Or maybe they're just watching the students show their work on a piece of paper. In our younger grades, you can see in the top right-hand corner, they're answering a question using their fingers. But the important thing is that we can see what every kid is doing in the moment. We can give them feedback right then and there, and then the teacher can structure the discourse around what they're seeing. What efficient strategies do they want shared? So we're going to watch a video from a kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Haskins, who's doing just that.
Emily, how many wheels do we have?
6.
6. Very good. How did you get 6? What did you do to figure that out?
I counted them.
Oh, you counted them? Okay, that's one way you could figure it out. So look, we have 2, 4, 6. Did anybody do something different? Did anybody not count? Sophia, I think you did something different because I saw what you were doing with your fingers. What did you do?
Well, I was counting the wheels. I knew that 3 plus 3 equals 6. But I wanted to make sure it was 6 because there were 3 wheels with 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 bodies.
Very good. Okay, so that's another.
So in the video, what you didn't see was that later on in the lesson, students began using Sophia's strategy of doubling. So Ms. Haskins was able to see that by Sophia using her hand motions to answer the question, she was able to focus that discourse around the more efficient strategy. And as the lesson went on, other students then picked up on that strategy of doubling. So in the next slide, you're going to see a picture down at the bottom where you'll see two students using talk moves. And requiring students to use talk moves allows us to get a bigger picture of what the class as a whole knows instead of just what the speaker knows. So it gives the speaker in the moment feedback as well. Are their peers agreeing with them? Are they respectfully disagreeing? Are they wanting to add on? And then it also gives the teacher an idea of where she needs to take the discussion and really provides that feedback that's going to move the learning forward. Students understand things so much easier sometimes when it comes from a peer. So we're going to watch another video where you will see and really hear feedback from a peer. You're going to see their talk moves, and you're going to hear one peer teaching the strategy to another.
I agree.
Okay. What? Give me some more feedback for Jericho.
I agree.
Okay, so talk to me now, Jericho, about your strategy. How did you set this up? How did you go from there?
I put it in the, I'm bad at explaining things.
No, you're great at it. Let's hear it.
So, I did 9 plus 7 is 6. 16. I was looking at it wrong. 9 plus 7 equals 16, and I added the 10 on 9 plus 5, which equals 15. Then I did 1 plus 1 plus 1, and I got $3, and I got $3.56 in total.
Okay. So here's what I wrote down, okay? Because this is what you told me. Now, and I'm not doing this to knock it or anything, Jericho, because you do have the right answer. But
That
Jericho, because it looks crazy, doesn't it? So here's the thing. We were talking before you logged on, and it's just because you came on a little bit late this morning, okay, about a new strategy called a give and a take. So we're going to take from one and give to the other. So can somebody talk to me and talk to Jericho about our new give and take strategy?
So give and take is like taking away from the second number and giving it to take away 7 from here and then give it to the 99 so it can be like $2. And that would be a 56.
Okay, I love it, Nicholas. So we don't want to take necessarily all 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would we take away from here to get to here?
You just take away 1.
Yeah, so we're just going to take away 1 penny, right? So if I say minus 1 penny, and over here I'm going to give it to this guy over here, okay? So Jericho, that's going to make this number a nice even $2. How do you feel about that?
Rebecca, you can go ahead and stop it if you want.
Sure.
Okay, and then
We had some great comments from Andrea in the chat talking about how Miss Geary over here is talking about strategies and thinking, and she loves that.
Great. So what you didn't see when the video finishes up is Nicholas finishes walking Jericho through that new strategy that they learned, and then Jericho is able to finish working out that problem on his own. I think the most important takeaway from that video is that Mrs. Geary did not let that student give up. As soon as he started explaining in the beginning, he wanted to give up, but she didn't let him. And I think right now, more than anything, we need to not be letting our students give up. Because of time management, we want to stop and we want to move on, but right now we can't. We have to show them that with feedback, they can do this and that we believe in them. So next, we're going to hear from Ashley.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ashley. I teach third grade at Okolona Elementary, best school ever. So what I'm going to talk to you today about is getting teacher to student feedback and student to student feedback through the use of a platform called Nearpod. There may be some of you who currently use that or you've heard about it. If you've never dived into it, it is an incredible resource. And one thing I always tell people is it's like getting a new cell phone. The first time you get it, it looks a little confusing and a little bit overwhelming. But as you play with it, you discover really neat tools and really neat opportunities to increase student achievement. So it's basically just a platform that I create my lessons in. And what is really, really neat about it and has helped my students excel this year is that I can see all of my students, all 23 of them, working at the same time on one screen. I can see all of them working, drawing a line at the same time. I can see what they're typing, and it is just a really neat way to physically have eyes on every single kid. So this is an example on this slide that you can see, and I snipped it, so it's only 9 students, but you can see they're in the middle of working out a multiplication problem. So I can see them all working at the same time. And what this allows me to do is it allows me to immediately clear up any sort of misunderstandings that those students might have. And I can even click on those images and expand them and make them larger to get a clearer look. And sometimes a student is making some sort of creation and I have no idea what they're talking about. So that's the opportunity where I can say, hey, so-and-so, can you unmute yourself and explain a little bit further? And a lot of times that clears things up. And what that has allowed my students to do as a class, other kids will start unmuting and saying, oh yeah, I was thinking the same thing, or I agree, or I'd like to add on to. So it's given me a really cool way for me to clear up misunderstandings with my students, but also for my other students to give feedback to each other. There is a paid version and a free version of Nearpod. I currently use the paid version, but the free version lets you access most of the same resources. So if you want to dive into it and explore it a little bit further in your own time, it is a really cool resource and you don't need to pay for the full edition. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So we're going to watch a quick video. It's about a minute long, and this is just one of my lessons where I was able to snip and clip some of that feedback that I was able to give students.
Let me read the problem again. It says, there are 4 boxes of crayons at my house. There are 10 crayons in each box. Marisol, look at that again. We're creating equal groups. Look at how many groups you have and how many are in. Calvin, on yours, you have equal groups. You have 4 groups, but then you have 10 in one and then 20 in another. So you're saying there's 10 crayons in one box and 20 crayons in another box and 30 crayons in another box and 40 crayons in another box? There's only 10 in each box. All right, Bryson Wilhite, you have 4 groups with 4 dots. So your picture shows 4 boxes of crayons with 4 crayons in each box. There's supposed to be 10 crayons in each box, Bryson Wilhite. So look at that again. Nevaeh, you're drawing both of them, it looks like. Good, Amari, that's beautiful. Joanna, it looks like you've got the right idea. Cadence, you've got the right idea. Bryson Ritter, you just drew 4 lines. That doesn't make sense. You need to redo that. Good, Calvin. Brooklyn, you're on the right track. Good. That's a great group right there. Now keep going. Good, Laura.
Okay, so that was just a little bit. Oh, I'll wait for you to get back. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Just a little bit of the way I'm able to see all of their work. And now in that instance, you didn't see the students responding back to me or responding back to each other, but it's a really nice way to make sure every student is engaged and then also to just clear up again those misunderstandings. What I do love about this program also, or this platform I should say, is I can modify the lessons as I see fit for my students, which I think is essential to giving feedback. Because I'm seeing those students work live, giving feedback so quickly, I can easily assess my students. I can take anecdotal notes really quick and say, so-and-so is not getting at these 5 kids, I need to pull for a group. And that's gonna help me prepare for future lessons. So it's just really important to note that if I see those misunderstandings, I can ask those kids to unmute, share their thinking, and then our kids can interact with each other. So if you've never dived into Nearpod, it is a really cool tool. There are a lot of different things you can do with Nearpod. I'm not going to go through them all, but on this slide, if you go back and watch this later, the hearts are next to the tools that I find really beneficial for student engagement and student feedback, particularly with math. It also works really well for reading and writing, but this is a really neat platform. So I would highly encourage you, if you've never dove into this program, check it out. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me, reach out. I would love to get on a live meet with you and just help you work through any sort of kinks that you might have. So we are going to move on to Kelly.
Hello, good afternoon. I wanted to present 2 useful tools of how I provide clear feedback to help students achieve learning goals, both in whole group and in independent assignments in Google Classroom. What I've learned is that feedback, and especially in NTI, can just take many forms, from comments to redirection and also just encouragement. And the most important thing I've learned teaching virtually is that feedback takes place while we're talking with our students, not at our students. And that's the critical difference for me and what makes feedback so valuable. But on this first slide, the first way I integrate feedback is using the website Whiteboard. This platform allows teachers to push out questions or problems to all students, and you can watch them work in real time. And as I watch them, I can provide individual audio feedback as they work, as they're finding solutions to math problems. And I really love watching their thinking in real time, and I can comment on that. So this first clip in the lower right-hand corner is steps to use Whiteboard.
I'm loving these videos, guys. This is awesome.
So if you look, you can create a new class. This is the video. You just type in your name, and then you get this screen. And what you can do is you can toggle your whiteboard. So your whiteboard is at the top, and you can add any type of clip, or not a clip, but a picture of anything. And so I chose to add like a task card for them to work on. And when you put that in there, then you can push it out to all students. Is it showing?
There.
Yeah, there we go. And so then after you push it out to all students, you can scroll down and look at their work. So I want to show how I give feedback in whole group daily math lessons using Whiteboard 5. So the main clip in the middle is me showing how I give feedback in real time for the whole class. So now everyone has their whiteboard with finding the factors. And I'm coming down to see your work right now. I love how Julian is writing his factors. And then he's creating his array. Excellent. Alex, awesome job. He's creating all of his factor pairs first. Then he's drawing his arrays. Nice. Rachel, nice job. I love how you are taking your time to draw your arrays. And Selena's even labeling her arrays with the factors. Wow, that's great. Seems like Mackenzie is putting dots inside. It looks like she's counting to make sure her arrays are correct. I like that strategy. Okay, so you can see that that allowed me to give individual feedback to specific students, but also allow students to hear exemplar examples. So they can study their solutions from hearing me talk directly to individual students. So on the next slide, I integrate feedback into their independent work. So I do both synchronous and asynchronous feedback. I use this Chrome extension called Moat. It's free. There's also a paid version. I choose to use the free version, and it allows teachers to post audio feedback on slides. So this helps me provide very timely feedback on a daily basis on their work assigned. And then students can respond very positively to that audio feedback by either correcting it, or they're able to take that feedback and apply it as I scaffold concepts within a standard and throughout a string of standards. So the most important takeaway is that they are meeting those learning objectives, not on the formative assessment, but throughout the lessons given. So here's a clip of audio feedback for one of my students' independent assignments in Google Classroom. So for asynchronous work, when students are working by themselves independently, I like to give feedback on their slides through Moat, which is a Chrome extension. It's conveniently located on every single slide that you create, and you can click this button to start recording your audio feedback. So for example, hi Darlene, I wanted to give you some feedback for slide 7. It looks like you left a few factors at the bottom that needed to be placed in the Venn diagram. So some questions you can ask yourself. For example, is 80 divisible by 80? Is 80 divisible by 10? And is 80 divisible by 40? So I want you to think about that so you can select where to place it in your Venn diagram. Okay, so that was an example of comments. I click done.
You want me to stop?
Sure, that'd be great. So basically you can just click done and post, and when you return the work, it's there just like a written comment. And of course, my students are well versed and have been practicing how to view their work, go back to their missing assignments, etc. So they can hear that feedback, especially if I choose to return it to them before giving them a grade. And I do that a lot so they can correct and learn from their mistakes and grow. So I hope everybody enjoyed those 2 examples of feedback. And now we're going to hear from Amanda.
All right, hi, I'm Amanda and I teach 3rd grade at Bates Elementary. Today I'm going to specifically focus on how I provide meaningful feedback to my students in my math class using Jamboard and Padlet. So I love using Jamboard with my students, but it's especially great for providing feedback to students during live lessons. I use the opportunity to modify my math lessons based on student need. And then I paired Jamboard with Google Breakout Rooms. And this is perfect for giving live feedback to my students in individual settings, in team groups of multiple students, and also for whole class. So I can give feedback to any of those 3 groups in a variety of ways. And then by doing this, by pairing Jamboard with Google Breakout Rooms, students get a unique opportunity to work on math collaboratively while being at home virtual. And so they're working in team-like settings, and I really enjoy listening to students give feedback to one another as they're working collaboratively on a math task. And then I enjoy being present and live in that moment, giving live feedback to them as well. And so I can move the learning forward by providing in the moment feedback to every single group for each lesson. And then I can clear up any misconceptions that pop up during that math lesson. So I'd like to show you a video. The clip is there in the center of how I integrate Jamboard with breakout rooms. One way that I like to provide meaningful in-the-moment feedback using Jamboard is to incorporate the Google Meet breakout rooms. So I have created a class jam, which is a frame for my entire class. I've provided access to each student in the class to this specific frame. So I've also predetermined which students will be in each group for today's activity. So as you can see, for the activity mentioned, I've assigned 3 groups. And so one decision that I made ahead of time during the setup phase is that I decided that students in group 1 will only have access to their group's jam. students in group 2 and 3, again, will only have access to their group's jam. So this main jam here gives me a place to come back after each group has had a turn to work. It also gives me a place to list the names, so students are aware at every moment who they're working with and what they're responsible for doing. So the way I explain this to my students is they're going to be working on a team activity where they'll be collaborating with each other and providing feedback with one another throughout this activity. So for this math activity, each group was assigned a particular slide with a separate word problem. So the word problems are a little bit differentiated. They're also given a slightly different task. And so group 1 has a particular word problem that they're working on. And so the way that I incorporate Google Meet breakout rooms is, again, before the activity begins, I'll plug in all of the group names for breakout room 1, breakout room 2, and breakout room 3. And students have an understanding that if they're in group 1, they'll go to breakout group 1. Okay, so the group number corresponds with the breakout room number, and it works really well. So the students are used to matching their jam slide with their breakout room number. And that's been working very well. And so one of the reasons that I love incorporating breakout rooms with Jamboard is because students are able to give each other feedback and work collaboratively just as if they were in the classroom, in the building, live in person. And so I found that it's an awesome opportunity for me to chime in with each group and provide live feedback and see how each group is doing with their task at hand. And it's just been really great to be able to monitor the individual breakout rooms and be able to monitor the individual jam slides at the same time. So I'm giving written feedback on the jams. At the same time, I'm providing oral feedback because we're live during the breakout rooms. And so at the very end of projects like this, we'll go back to that class jam and I will present all of the group work. And that gives us a great opportunity for a virtual gallery walk where students can give each other feedback, not just individually and not just within their group, but also to give other groups feedback as well. All right, so that wraps up how I use Jamboard to provide an outlet for students to give one another feedback and for myself to give meaningful feedback to students, both during live lessons and during asynchronous lessons. And so the next slide, I'm going to explain how I use a tool called Padlet to do very similar things. So like Jamboard, Padlet is a great tool to use for math class for a variety of reasons. Students have the opportunity to draw and show their thinking in a variety of ways. They can give audio feedback, video feedback, written, where they can use a doodle tool. And so they're able to give feedback to one another in the same way. So a lot of times the students are giving feedback in written form to one another after they see how each other have solved problems. Padlet makes giving and receiving feedback fun and interactive. And I feel like it's fun for the teacher as well because it's really interactive and the students enjoy seeing that I'm providing feedback in the moment as they're solving their problems. What's great about Padlet though is I can use it right alongside Jamboard and breakout rooms. So it, as a trio, the three tools work really well together. My students have been enjoying using Padlet as a unique way to experience the virtual gallery walks, which I explained a little bit with Jamboard, but through Padlet, that virtual gallery walk looks a little bit different even. So I'd like you to listen. I have 2 student video clips where they provide their perspective as what is it like to give feedback and receive feedback using Padlet and Jamboard. And it's the 2 black dots.
Sorry, which one is it?
Right.
This?
In the top right corner, each black dot is a video.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
No problem.
I like Padlet because it is a great way to share what you think about something with your classmates. So if you agree with someone else's work, there is an add comment button, and if you press that, you can write what you think about what you think of the other person's work. You can also check back on your work to see if anybody else commented. Padlet is a great way to share with your friends. I like Padlet because you can see your friend's work. You can also comment and like on it. You can make a video, a photo, or you can write something and your classmates and your teacher will see it. When you come back on your Padlet, your teacher and other classmates may have given a comment or a like. And I also like Jamboard because you can work together as a team and do things. You can also edit the things you would like to. Thank you.
All right, so as you can see, the students enjoy that interactive piece. So they have been enjoying the fact that they have placed their math problems in a certain place and they go back and check for that feedback. So it's been really cool to see the students interacting in that way. But in addition, it gives me another outlet of providing meaningful feedback that the students are definitely going back and looking for. So thank you so much for listening to us today. I hope that you've learned a lot about feedback, and please feel free to reach out to any one of us on the math team for more information.